Little baby bunting, little baby bunting, Daddy's gonna hunting, gonna fetch her. Agnes, it's me, Billy.
Hello everyone, I'm back for day 19 of the 31 days of Christmas horror. Today I did a rewatch of I think an underrated slasher film from the 80s, and that's To All A Goodnight. Maybe it's better described as much maligned, because this film I think has been picked on quite a bit as being a cliche and badly directed and poorly lit. And I actually can't argue with any of those things. They're right. It is badly lit. It is clumsily directed. Some of the special effects are not particularly good. The acting is bad. So what's there to like about it? Well, I think there's a few things. One of the things you have to realize is that this film came out before Christmas Evil, before Silent Night, Deadly Night, before Friday the 13th. And all those films, there are similarities to this film. That this film has been labeled kind of a cliche and a ripoff of those films, but if people research a little bit, they'll realize that this film came out and was released to theaters January of 1980, and all the other films are subsequent after that. I mean, so it's hard to criticize this film as being a bad Santa film or a ripoff of, say, Friday the 13th when it came out before. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But having said that, it is a not a particularly good effort on a number of people's parts. David Hess, who is famous more for his acting roles as Krug in Last House on the Left, Wes Craven, House on the Edge of the Park, Swamp Thing. Yeah, he's been a very charismatic actor that's plays really slimeball characters really, really well, and he's kind of made an art form of that. He also is a well-known songwriter. He wrote one of All Shook Up that Elvis sang. But I think from a directing standpoint, this was his one and only effort, and it needs to probably stay that way. It is very, he just doesn't have a lot of feel for the filmmaking. I mean, the pacing is bad. There's a lot of filler in this film that is bad filler. You can have filler that develops characters, and then you can have filler that just doesn't do anything. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't develop the characters or the story or etc. So, unfortunately, in this case, there's quite a bit of filler. The film also stars, it doesn't star, but it has the porn star Harry Reams in it. He's a pilot in this film, and he ends up getting killed on the propeller blades off. It's kind of shot off. It's off camera kill, but the film actually I was almost picked up by a major studio, but the story was when they found out a porn star was in it, they poo-pooed it. So Jennifer Runyon is in this. A lot of the actors in this, including her, are kind of either TV, mostly kind of made their career in TV. Not really many notable people. Most of these people were out of work when they took this role, and there's a reason why they were out of work. They're just not very good. They're just not charismatic. They don't carry the story, and they're just not very interesting. So when you add kind of a padded script and storyline to bad acting, you've got a tough 90 minutes to get through. The first 30 minutes in the setup is interesting, but after that, kind of like the first third and the last third is actually worth watching. But that midway point, when they didn't know what to do with the story, was tough. Um, so I'm kind of beating this film up a little bit, but actually I'll give it a 6 out of 10. But you would think after listening to me go on and on about it's all this movie's faults that, it's a 3 out of 10. I give it a 6 out of 10 because it's still very cheesy and entertaining. You gotta understand it's not a good movie. It's poorly lit, and the acting's bad. There's some padding in it, but other than that, I mean, you've got some interesting stuff going on when it is going on. You've got so the story is. I'm going to get into the story and some spoilers here. So if you don't want to hear this, I would fast forward it probably 3 minutes. The story is a girls' school, and at some point, one of the girls was pushed off a ledge, and she died. And you could see pushed off the ledge. It was a badly executed special effects. It looks like a dummy. And then you fast forward a number of years, and now you've got essentially the killer is pretty obvious. It's the mother of the daughter, a la Friday the 13th, trying to take revenge for her daughter's death. She kills a bunch of students that have decided to stay on Christmas break at the college, have some boys over, and then get killed, right? So all that storyline sounds just like Friday the 13th. But this was before Friday the 13th. So the other slant to this is the killer dressed up in a Santa suit. But this was before Silent Night, Deadly Night, and this was before Christmas Evil. You have some badly executed kills, but entertaining nonetheless. One is a wire garrote. So the killer is up in a tree, and the two kids are like kissing and hanging close to each other, and you see the garrote kind of floating around his face, trying to get it, kind of latch on to his head. It's like, and of course the guy helps the garrote along, and once it gets there, then the killer takes a tree limb and ties it off on her neck. So that was badly executed, but hilarious to watch. Another kill is a throat slashing. You've got another kill where the head is decapitated and then stuck on a shower head. So it's hanging opposite way on a shower head. It looks silly as hell, but it's funny. The punchline in this film is that there's a good twist to this at the end of the film. So you've got the Friday the 13th mother's revenge concept, but you have a very cool twist at the end on top of that, which I give the film points for originality. So I give it a 6 out of 10 with all its flaws, mainly because it's a cliched film, but it was before all the cliches in a lot of respects. This was the first slasher film that had a Santa feature length, with the exception of Tales from the Crypt in 1972. This is it. This was before Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Christmas Evil. It's not nearly as good, and it's bad, bad directing and poorly lit, but still, you got to respect the fact that they did some things that would become cliches and typical slasher type stuff before any of that occurred, including Friday the 13th. So, and I like the twist ending, so I'm still going to give it a 6 out of 10. There's some special features on here. Jennifer Runyon talks about the film. She's the blonde virgin, and of course we all know that the virgin lives. But the concept of kids having sex and getting killed because they had sex, I mean, this film, you could argue, kind of started that. It came before all the others. And of course, the concept that the virgin that abstains from sex survives and is the final girl. There you go. This is that concept. So yeah, the writer of the film, Alex Rebar, is interviewed in this for about 12 minutes. He played in The Incredible Melting Man. which I saw in the theaters, by the way. I like that. That's a great cheese classic. But he talks about kind of his nomadic life in B movies. So yeah, this Kino release, Scorpion release, the quality of the film is excellent. You know, most copies of this film, because of the poor lighting, or just it gets exacerbated. The releases are just so dark you can't see it. No, there's no problems with this. The sound quality is excellent, and the video quality is excellent. So you probably, if you haven't seen this other than the VHS, this is the release to go with, and you'll probably have a renewed appreciation for it. Even with its slow moments, it's still quite a bit of fun. It's just the last thing I'll comment on it is that the twist ending also includes this film's got so many cliches that came later. One is the red herring guy, the old man that's going to warn the kids, hey, this is bad, don't do this. He's a red herring and even wears a red shirt to indicate he's a red herring. He walks around with hedge clippers and a red shirt. But he's clearly a red herring because he gets bumped off in the middle of the film. The other cliche, which is highly entertaining, is you've got the Brooklyn type cop with the checkered jacket. He doesn't know how to dress. It's like horrible 70s look, and he's got that "Yo, Adrian" kind of talk to him. So there's just a lot to enjoy in this film as far as the characterizations, but it's just be prepared. It's got some hair on it. Anyway, that's the end of day 19 and my end of my review of To All A Goodnight. I will be back with day 20. Appreciate you watching.